Hello everyone, in this video we are trying to learn about functional programming in earthengine. Earthengine uses parallel processing system, and in this system computations are done across a large number of machines, and earthengine uses such terms such as referential transparency and lazy evaluation. These techniques are usually used by functional languages, and this is for optimization and for the efficiency. So in the functional programming, there is no side effects, and by side effects, this means function does not rely on objects that are outside of the function. So here we have the loops. So loops are not suggested in earthengine. The results are achievable by map operation that can be specified to each element, and the map helps to distribute the processing to different machines. So here we have the example. Instead of using loops, we have used the dot map approach. So here we have the sequence. This statement generates the sequence from 1 to 10, and we are developing the function here. In this function, the number is powered to 2. That means we are generating the square of the number. So this is the function here, and the function name is compute squares, and this function has been mapped to the list that we generated previously. So by dot map compute squares, we're generating the square of the numbers. Similarly, if-else conditions are also not suggested in earthengine. So there is the function ee.algorithm.if, but functional approach using map is suggested. What happens is when both true and when the true and false are evaluated by the if-else conditions, they can take extra computation and take more memory. So for this, the function can be used. So here in the first example, here we have the function, and in this function we take the number, and that number is made sure that we can use its mode form. For that we have the dot mode 2, and it generates the remainder, and the remainder can be 0, or the remainder can be 1. If the remainder is 0, when it is multiplied to the provided number, then it generates 0. But when the remainder is 1, in the case of the number being odd, then the original number is generated again. So this has been mapped as dot map again to the previous list, and we have mapped the function, and we remove all the zeros from that list, and squares has been generated of that list. So this is being done here, and we are printing them out. So this is to know that whether the number is even or odd. So the advantage of working with dot map approach is that different algorithms can be applied to different collections. So for example, here we have the collection of image Landsat TOA, and we have subset the collections into two groups. The first one here is with the sun elevation of less than 40 and sun elevation of greater than 40 in the second case. So two different subsets here, and the first subset or the first collection has been mapped by the function. Here we are multiplying the image with 2. So this is the case where we are applying function, or we are mapping the function for the first group, and similarly the second function or second algorithm could have been applied to the next group. So this is one of the example, and here we have merged the two collections by dot merge, and we are calculating the size. So, and we also have the cumulative iteration, and there is also the sequential operations where the result of iteration or the result received now is to be used by the subsequent iterations. So, so for this, earthengine uses the iterate method, and iterate method can be slow for the larger operations. However, its use are when the map and filters cannot be used. So here's an example of iterate for Fibonacci number sequence. And in Fibonacci number sequence, the number is generated from the previous two numbers when they are summed. The iterate function here takes two arguments, and one is the algorithm itself, and the second one is the starting values. So here we have the function. The function takes two numbers, current and previous, and that is list from the list. And here we have get -1. That means we want to take the last number from that list, and -2 means we want to take the second last number from the list. So we are adding those two numbers, n1 and n2, and that has been returned. And this is our function, or this is our algorithm here. And here we have the 10 iterations we want to do. That begins from 1 to 10. And we have the two starting numbers. This is the starting number from which the algorithm will start work. And finally, we iterate it by two different values, as mentioned earlier. One is the algorithm, and the second one here is the starting values. So we can print the sequence. If we run them all, so in the first case, we had the squares of the numbers. We are squaring the number from 1 to 10. So this is the result. And the second case was the if-else conditions. We had used map, dot map in this case for generating the square numbers of the odd numbers. So here is the result. And finally, the final one was the generation of the Fibonacci series. And the second last example, it was the collection size. So it is still computing. So overall, this was the idea of the functional programming in earthengine, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you.